with Devin Haney versus Vasily Lomachenko being the next super fight we have in 2023. We're going to be dropping some insight on each fighter, and for this video, we're going to be getting into Devin Haney a little. But before that, we are all takes no whiffs. I'm Cristian, that's Alex, and we're coming through with the boxing, of course, as always. Devin Haney, though, undisputed lightweight champion of the world right now, a super decorated amateur background, and he's just been around the boxing world for a while. Ever since he was a kid, you could find pictures of him as a little kid with Floyd Mayweather and just a bunch of other stars of the past. But in my opinion, before I pass this off to Alex, what I really like about Devin Haney's upbringing is how involved his father is in mapping out what the path that he wanted his son to take, and Devin Haney was all for it, and seeing it come into fruition, it's such a dope process in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I love it that his dad's been super involved, being his trainer throughout his entire life, starting him super young. I think it was around the age of like 5 years old. Went up the amateur ranks, had a really solid record in the amateur ranks at 138-8. Not a lot of fighters can say they did that. Fought Ryan Garcia 4 times in the amateurs too. They each won twice, so that's pretty cool. But he also won 7 national championships at the amateur level, so that's a pretty good accomplishment himself. But turned a pro at 17 years old, and it's been a pretty good damn showing since.
Without a doubt. Turning pro at 17, obviously he was not allowed to fight professionally in the United States. So his first 4 professional fights before turning 18 were all in Mexico. So that's kind of why Devin Haney is a familiar name to a lot of Mexican boxing fans. A lot of local fans in Mexico, they saw him a little bit in his upbringing, but outside of his first 4 fights in 2016, Devin Haney honestly took a slow but steady rise, I feel like. I think they definitely handled him the right way, his development in the pros, and he was very active, and I think that's a huge plus, especially early on in a fighter's professional career. So I just really love the way that he was handled on this come up, and things went really well for him. Some notable wins, obviously. Excuse my pronunciation, I should know this. Yoriki's Gamboa. We all know about Gamboa. He beat him back in 2020. That was a pretty funny fight, I'm not gonna lie. And also his KO victory against Antonio Moran. That was one of the nastier knockouts I've seen. Probably the best highlight of Devin Haney's career at this point, in my opinion. And I'm not saying that to downplay what Devin Haney has done at the world level, but it was just that brutal of a knockout. It was one of his better knockouts. I thought he might have had some power at the time when he said it or when he did it, but not to get into that. Devin Haney, he's had a really solid come up though, and I think he's got a lot more to do. I don't even want to get into his accomplishments yet though.
And he's honestly accomplished a lot. He got his first world title in 2017, the vacant WBC Youth World Lightweight title against Maximoni Toala. I'm not sure if I said that right, but he was very active, like Cristian said, in the very beginning of his career. I mean, 16 professional fights in a 2-year span is honestly insane. I mean, not a lot of fighters do that anymore, especially when they're that young too. It's usually about 3 to 4 fights a year, sometimes 5, but so it's really nice to see that he went through that really quick too, moved up the ranks there in lightweight pretty quick, honestly. But Yorkie's Gamboa, like Cristian said, that was a pretty funny fight, but we have some more fights that he had after that. Jorge Linares was definitely Devin Haney's toughest fight to date until this Lomachenko fight. And then also he fought Joseph Diaz in 2021. This was honestly probably one of the most boring fights I have ever watched in the history of fights. So that can just tell to this fight, but Jojo Diaz was kind of on the back end of his career. I mean, we've seen him fight recently too, so he hasn't looked the best, but Haney definitely outworked him. I think the scores on this should have been a little wider, to be honest, but those
Jojo
two fights.
sucks, honestly. Yeah, the scores should be. He shouldn't have gotten them around. I'm not a fan of Jojo. No, I'm kidding. He probably got a round or two. It's just Devin Haney, as Alex said, he outclassed him.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then same thing with George Kambosos Jr. Both fights, and George Kambosos Jr. talked all that shit just to get beat twice in his hometown.
Beat twice in his hometown, dominated in his hometown. Those 2 judges in the first fight with the 116, 112s out of pocket, he got dominated. Really got dominated. And what was really interesting for this whole fiasco at this point of Devin Haney's career, he had the WBC belt, as we knew. A lot of people like to call him the email champ for it because he got it handed to him basically, sure. But he defended the title, put in the work, so I don't criticize about that. But obviously, you had Teofimo Lopez parading around like he was the undisputed champion, but Devin Haney was able to dispute that. Teofimo lost his titles in an upset to Kambosos. So we got a real undisputed fight with Kambosos after all that whole fiasco. And Devin Haney
You gotta
made it
say.
look like Kambosos should have been at like the debut level still. It was that much of a gap, I feel like. But at this point, Devin Haney is the undisputed lightweight champion, already has a title defense of his undisputed title, and here he is now.
Oh yeah, Devin Haney is at the top of the lightweight division right now, undisputed. And it's no surprise how he got here because this guy is honestly super polished and everything. He's really good at everything that he does. But Cristian, what would you say that his strengths are?
First and foremost, honestly, his boxing IQ, I feel like above all else. He is a pure boxer, so we know he doesn't really go in for the kill with every punch, but he goes in with a game plan of every down to the minute detail. Like he's on top of his game like that. On top of that, being young and athletic, I think that is huge for him. He has pretty fast hands overall. I think that's something that goes unnoticed with how polished of a boxer
Underrated.
he is. Very, very underrated with his hand speed. And honestly, I see some of his fans gassing him up a little crazy with this. I've seen things about the best jab of all time, but in all seriousness,
It's
though, he
pretty
has a
good.
really
It's pretty
no. I
good.
don't. It is elite, but like best jab of all time is out of pocket statement. Like that's just there's way too many
Could
all
be one
time great
day.
fighters to put that up against. Yeah, could be one day, but
He's still young.
um, I want to see that jab cook up Lomachenko and other top tier fighters before I could say that. But other than his jab, I think he throws combinations well. He's tying into his boxing IQ. He's really good at punch placement, deciding when to throw his punches, his timing, and his ring generalship. I feel like that as well. He's really good at dictating the moves that his opponents make. I feel like, and
Hmm.
that's just it all ties into boxing IQ really. His boxing IQ with his youth and athleticism right now, it's a nasty combo.
Oh yeah, it's a really good combo, honestly, and I think you honestly hit it spot on with everything right there. Only thing I'd really, I mean, I don't even think I need to touch on anything to be honest. So, kind of, what do you think some of his weaknesses are? Because, to be honest, there may not be too many with Devin Haney.
On I only see two, 1.5 if you want to be honest, but main one is his lack of power. I feel like he doesn't
And that's the
really
obvious
hurt.
one.
Yeah, he doesn't really hurt his opponents too much. He hasn't had, as I mentioned, Antonio Moran. That was the highlight of his career, and Antonio Moran is about 47,000 levels below this stage of boxing. So I just feel like when it comes to world level fighters like Lomachenko, for example, Devin Haney's power is not going to be the deciding factor by any means. I don't think he's probably not even going to stun Lomachenko in this fight, to be honest. But that's where his IQ and his boxing ability makes up for that. And his half weakness to weakness I was talking about, honestly, I still think he has a suspect chin. I don't think he has a bad chin. I think it's suspect. Like if he gets caught on the nose on the button by somebody who punches harder than Linares. Linares had him wobbling after a nice little combination to end off a round. If it's somebody with more power, in my opinion, Lomachenko has more power, or at least utilizes power better than Linares. Things could go bad for Devin Haney. Doesn't seem like he has the most solid chin, but I could be getting ahead of myself.
Oh yeah, and we haven't really seen that chin been tested much. Like you said, Linares, he did have him stumbled a bit, but I think Lomachenko, this is probably going to be the first test for it. Don't want to get too much into that yet because that would be for our preview coming up next week.
Oh yeah, cannot wait to preview this fight and both fighters. But as far as Devin Haney, this is his first huge test, first Hall of Famer, in my opinion, on his resume. So this is going to be huge for him, and I cannot wait to see what's in store for Devin Haney.
Oh yeah, I'm super looking forward to this fight. I can't wait to get into it more. And if you want to see our preview or the Lomachenko fighter profile too, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. We'll be dropping both of those. We're also closing in on 100 subscribers, and once we reach 100 subscribers, we're going to be doing a $100 giveaway. For all the support that we have gotten and everything, we just want to be able to give back and everything, and we hope to be doing more of these as we continue to grow more too.
Oh yeah, really looking forward to that giveaway. I'm looking forward to seeing who wins that giveaway and all that. And I'm hoping whoever wins the giveaway that they spend it wisely, maybe on a huge pay-per-view fight at the end of the year. We got y'all with that. All we want to do is give y'all the boxing content you need, and if we got to supply a fight for y'all one of these days, go ahead and enter that giveaway. Really looking forward to that. Looking forward to this fight. Looking forward to seeing what's next for Devin Haney. But until then, peace.